Good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Lyle Wood speaking to you from the Victory Center Ministries here in Clinton, Iowa. We have a very special guest here today. He's one of our guys who went through our program here at the Victory Center Ministries, and he's got a heck of a testimony of what God has done through his life. So his name is Jeremiah Machuca. How you doing, Jeremiah?
I'm blessed.
Hey, why don't you go ahead and tell our audience, from time of your childhood to where you are today, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, Pastor Lyle. I'm very thankful and humbled to give this testimony of what Jesus Christ has done in my life. My name is Jeremiah Machuca. I'm 39 years old. I was born and raised in Aurora, Illinois. Growing up, I grew up fatherless. The identity of my father was hid from me. I was lied to. I grew up with no kind of father figure. I'm the only child. I was raised by my mother, who was very verbally and physically abusive to me. Something I grew up as a child I was very ashamed of. A lot of different kinds of verbal and physical abuse. One sticks out more than any other. I remember I was eating my dinner at the kitchen table, and the verbal abuse and the physical abuse came at me, and my plate of food landed up on the kitchen floor, and the glass broke, the plate broke, and I remember the milk being smeared in my food on a dirty kitchen floor, and I was forced to eat that food off the floor like a dog, and growing up, I always wanted a father. I always wanted to have a father there to play catch with, to take me fishing, to show me how to wrench on stuff, how to fix stuff, to hug me, to wrestle with, and I just never had that. And I never had a father figure. My mom was very verbally and physically abusive towards me, and I didn't get words of encouragement. I got words of encouragement to commit suicide. And I can remember a time my mom said she didn't want me no more, and we lived in an apartment at the time, and she kicked me out, and I had nowhere to go, so I slept in front of the door in the hallway. And the neighbor across the hall came home around 2 or 3 in the morning, and he asked me what was going on, and I told him. And he asked me if if I wanted him to call the police, and I said, yeah. I said, please do, And so the police came and knocked on the door, and my mother said, please take him. I don't want him no more. And I was so happy that this could be over with. I was in my mind. I was already happy thinking about the foster home I'd go to. The people I'd meet. And I thought it was all over. But then the police talked my mother into taking me back, saying that foster home or the group home I'd be placed in was way worse than her. Her place. And so I was returned back to my mother, and it got to the point where I wasn't ashamed anymore. I just wanted out. So, I did go to the police. I went to school. I went to family, and nobody helped me. So I just came to the conclusion that nobody cared about me, and I just stopped caring about myself. I found comfort and relief and pleasure in drug use, and I quit caring about my future. Growing up as a child, I was very good in school. I was at the top of my class, and I quit caring about school. I quit caring about everything. I hated my feelings, and the only thing I wanted to feel was them to go away, and then I wanted to feel the pleasures of drug use. I lost all interest in school. I ran the streets at a young age. I ran with broken people I could relate to, people that been through things like I've been through. And from the age of 13 to the age of 28, my whole life revolved around drugs. It progressively got worse, I came to a point where I could feel my life getting darker and darker, and at a young age I got involved in dealing drugs, because I learned how to support my habit by dealing drugs. Then I learned how to make money also. So I got involved in that lifestyle from the age of 13 to the age of 28. My whole life revolved around drugs, but it progressively got worse. And when I looked in the mirror, I hated who I became. I used to look into the mirror, and I became I felt like a monster. And I knew I needed help, and I couldn't help myself. So I grew up believing the lie that God didn't love me. You know, I thought it was unfair that I had no father. I didn't know who my father was. I had no father figure. My mother was very verbally and physically abusive towards me. I had no brother, no sister. I just grew up believing the lie that God hated me. And I can remember being a teenager and drunk and looking up to the heavens and flicking God off and cussing at him and crying and and just giving him a piece of my mind, and I just continued in that. And, but at the age of 28, I was in a very bad place. I was in extreme drug use. I had thoughts of suicide. I had loaded guns. I had access to any drug I wanted. And I just remember looking in the mirror, and I just felt the darkness getting darker and darker. And I said in my heart, God, if you're real, will you please help me? And I woke up from a dream. In my dream, I was getting arrested. And I woke up, it startled me. And I got up, I used the restroom, I sat back down in my lazy boy chair, fell back asleep, and a few minutes later, the police were kicking in my door, just like in my dream. And I was getting in the back of that cop car, just like in my dream. I didn't understand it then, but so I sat in the county jail with federal gun and drug charges, no drugs, and I had to face all the bad choices I made. I had to face everything that I was running from, and there was a little voice in my heart that just said that I couldn't help myself, and I could feel the damage I did to my body through extreme drug use. I could feel it in my body. I was a mess, and I was in the county jail, and church, they came into the county jail where I was from, and there was this man named Rodney Weber from Geneseo, Illinois. Church would come into the pod. I would run in my cell when church came, and before he left, he'd go around to each cell and hug everybody and tell them that Jesus loved them. And when I looked into his eyes, I seen something real. I seen something genuine and sincere. And when the man hugged me, I felt love. I felt love. And I was hurting. I was in a bad place. And he continued to just share the gospel with me. And I'm so thankful that he loved on me.